I'm done whoring myself up.
Bill, to your right, Chris Morris. What's up, Chris? Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
A few of us saw Four Lions and just absolutely loved it. This movie that's coming out, I think, coming out tomorrow in L.A. and New York, right?
Yeah, a few other places as well. I don't have the list with me, but you know.
Yeah,
we're up and down the country.
Pleasantly surprised, and Jim Norton said that he now, has faith in comedy again.
I love this movie so much because everything is such politically correct shit, and they always wreck it. And I'm like, the whole time I'm watching this, I'm loving this movie, and I'm like, they're gonna fuck this up. I'm gonna hate this by the end. I know they're gonna do it, and you didn't do it. It was like
so how could we have fucked it up at the end then?
I don't want to say
give away the ending.
I don't want to give away the ending.
Yeah, see,
you know what I mean? But I will say this: it didn't go in the direction I thought it was going to go in. To me, you humanize suicide bombers, but not in an apologetic, make the people they're trying to kill feel guilty way.
Yeah, I mean, look, that kind of mission, you're heading towards a wall. So I guess you were saying you don't want somebody to say, stop the car, get out, go and have a picnic just before you hit the wall, right?
Or that we're stupid to think that people would be suicide.
That's how you would have fucked it up, obviously.
Yeah.
But we don't want to, that's a big part of the movie.
Well, there's an afterlife.
I think it could have fucked up by
right?
being Queen Latifah in it as the sassy black woman. That would have wrecked it.
Well, how about we start with this?
They could have wrecked it by making some dog shit social message that was meant to preach to people not to be Islamophobe. And there was none of that. It was just, these guys are complete bumbling idiots.
You don't want finger wagging, do you?
No.
I mean, you just don't want that in a film.
No.
If you get that in a film, go home. I mean, people
Especially
should
a comedy.
I like when films make up my mind for me. This is just being spoon-fed.
Yeah, but no, we played it to people, right? And people put it, ask questions at the end. One or two people go, can you tell me what I think?
Can you tell me what I think?
Yeah, I know, you get that.
Can we start with what the movie's about in your words?
Okay, it's about bumbling jihadi terrorists.
There you go. That's basically what we said.
But there's so many cases where that actually happens. I mean, have you heard of the bottle rocket bomber?
No.
Okay, well, there was some trouble with ink cartridges last Friday.
Right.
The guy that made those bombs decided, because they're dissident Saudis, and he wanted to kill a Saudi prince, and he thought the best way to do this was to turn his brother into a bomb. So he had a word with his brother. His brother agreed. The bomb mechanism suppository, basically.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh no!
So and so basically he goes to see the Saudi prince, and the plan is he goes, "Hello, prince," and hits the button. But they got the dynamics wrong, because if you let off a bomb in a tent, it's very different to letting it off in a hard room. In a hard room, the explosion comes back and you achieve your aim. This is in a tent. So he saw the prince, he hit the button and fired himself straight through the ceiling. And the prince just goes, oh well, next.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not sure how high he got. I was talking to an intelligence analyst about this, right? But he couldn't give me the height. But I'm hoping it was over 50 feet.
Wow. So you don't hear enough about terrorists miserably, or how dumb a lot of these guys are.
There are a few videos out there that you could see of guys with like Stinger missiles that don't quite work.
Loads.
Missiles that just fall out of the front, and they're like, oh, and they just go running away from the thing. It's hysterical. Some of these, they're really bumbling.
I know
they blow
one.
themselves up. I've seen a lot of videos because they video them, and they're like, and then something horrible happens. They're like, ah.
I don't know how you feel about this. But that one you just described, they're Canadians.
Yes,
the one with the huge. I mean, when I saw that, I thought, are we going to be able to match this in the film? Because that is
really
the funniest. Funny. I mean, even if you told someone it's the funniest thing that they're ever going to see, they'd still laugh. You could never let it down.
The missile just falls out of the front of the launcher right in front of these guys, and they're all just like, ah!
It's like giving birth. Away. It's like the launcher just gives birth to this
It was so crazy, a lot of people thought it was a fake video. There's no way this actually happened.
No, because they were scared shitless when they went running away from it.
There was a cool thing, the relationship between these guys. Like, one of the guys, Omar's name was kind of the smarter guy who was running it. And then there was the more radical guy who they just wanted to shut the fuck up because he kept drawing attention to them by saying, and he's like, what did he say? Like, I'm not drawing attention. They're like, you put a Twin Towers cake outside the synagogue on 9/11. Hide in plain sight. It was really fucking...
Hide in plain sight.
The great dialogue between these guys was fucking great.
Who came up with the dialogue for the movie?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, obviously I'm here, and none of the other writers are here, so it was all me.
So it was all you. Yeah, very good. You're a smart man.
There's a bit of improvisation.
Because the writing is right on.
Dude, we were wondering, because if you notice, I think even England seems to be more PC as far as catering to Muslims than the United States even.
You mean going around and giving them food?
Well, not catering in that way. Although I don't know England. Perhaps. Just being more politically correct, making sure to not offend. It seems to be that they call it the nanny state.
It's black and white for here, and Islam and non-Islam, it seems like, for there.
It's weird, you know, because I think there's kind of, in Britain, there's a sort of submerged, you kind of like disguise your racism. I think that's the way it works. It's kind of like polite racism.
Oh, that's
Do you know what I mean?
nice.
I think that's it. You know, there's quite a lot of it. But it's very different, you know, because I mean, there's kind of a million people whose families come from back in Pakistan, and they've been around for 50 years, and you know, people just tend to think, okay, well, shut up unless you make a good curry, is the kind of feeling that you get.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not quite as you describe. But I think, you know, when you get kind of super liberals, they're allowed to be racist as well, but they have to pretend they're not. You know? So it's kind of that's probably the impression.
Have you gotten any flack for this from any? Because it's an amazing topic to fucking attack in a comedy, and you really go in depth with it, and you show them. The opening is the guy's trying to make his suicide video, which is when they talk to camera and whatever, but the guy's gun is too small, and it just looks ridiculous. He's holding a tiny gun, and they're like, he's like, I'll sit closer to the camera, and he sits close to the camera, and they're like, cut. It was really funny, man. They show all these outtakes, and
That's great.
you really seem to have captured what these guys do.
But you get those, you know. I mean, you get those in court cases. They come up. Sometimes they stop people before they get too far, and you know, they intercept them before they make an explosive, and then you see the kind of evidence and some of that stuff. And there's guys basically sitting there doing their videos, and I mean, this is for real, and they kind of get halfway through some rant, and then they either run out of words. They're trying to describe the hell they're going to rain on our heads, and they just literally run out of words and stop and just look stupid. Or there's one guy saying halfway through, he goes, so what was the question again? Like, it really not to
So
get.
did you research some actual tapes? Like, how did you find out what they were doing?
Obviously,
there's thing. I mean, because you know, when you go to court, they're all too happy to. I mean, these guys who basically got 600 kilos of fertilizer, right? And they wanted to make it into a bomb. They'd gone to Pakistan to learn how to make it into a bomb. They'd come back. They'd had a few conversations, like conversations about who's cooler, Bin Laden or Johnny Depp. Seriously, you know, and then they'd realised they'd forgotten how to make a bomb. So they started phoning up Pakistan again, saying, yeah, listen, bro, the bomb recipe you told us, at which point the line goes dead. And then they're sitting around going, having ridiculous conversations. They call each other, one guy, there was 6 Pakistanis and a Moroccan. The Moroccan used to call the Pakistanis, you hairy hobbits. So he'd come into the room, and you'd hear this stuff. They had like stoner conversations. Like they didn't know what one of them had a baby had a Doberman, and they couldn't work. They didn't even know that a Doberman was a kind of dog. You know, it's kind of really ridiculous conversations you wouldn't dare make up.
You always just assume they were great at one take. That they did it in one take.
Oh, they had that level of passion.
Yeah.
Then when you really think about it, it's like, how dumb would you have to be to have some other guy convince you?
Yeah, this
to
movie,
blow yourself up. I'm going to keep living.
But the guy that's doing the convincing, right? He's probably got to be brighter than the guy that's getting convinced.
You would think.
So you know, that's why you get freakish things like qualified doctors sort of driving flaming cars into airports, which we had a few years ago. You know, qualified doctors.
right?
Yeah.
You just
It's
humanized
odd,
the
man.
whole thing. You
Well,
really
maybe.
did.
Well, you love doctors. You love the doctor angle. There's engineers. There's nurses. What's your favorite
That's
profession?
nothing but
right?
doctors. Doctors brings it around.
I mean, I'm looking at Jimmy. There's so much we want to say about this movie, but we don't want to give away a lot of the punchlines.
I don't want to blow it, but the audience, I think, knows our sensibilities with comedies, and they always blow it. And this one didn't. It was really, really funny and smart and dark. Let's just say this. There were everybody does not live. I'm only going to say that. I'm not going to say everybody does not live, and you never see a death in a comedy. You just don't see it. Every time something happens, you know, the guy gets out of the tank and he's okay.
Right.
And there are, let's just say,
He's got some soot on his face or something.
happy or
A
unhappy.
couple of whoopsie daisies.
But there's weird rules about this, right? Because, you know, we all know the bit in Raiders of the Lost Ark where the guy gets the sword out and he just gets shot, right? And that's the punchline.
Yeah,
There's some weird sort of rule. It is nothing to do with whether it's right or wrong. It's kind of, you know, there's a There's a guy in the film that gets killed, and he's just a sort of. This will sound terrible, right? He's nothing to do with it. He's an innocent bystander. He's a functionary part. But we thought we had to kind of make people dislike him before he actually goes up. You know, we had to make him do something awful before he got killed. Not at all. It doesn't matter. You know, if you haven't followed him, if he hasn't sort of been hallowed in some way in the film, you just don't care. I mean, look, the general, Buster Keaton's the general. The kind of climax scene of that is a massacre in a ravine. But you're not sitting there going, oh my God, it's a massacre in a ravine. You're going, hey, look at Buster. He's dancing around in front of the guns being stupid. You know, so it's kind of it's a weird rule that you should have to make everything nice and everybody.
It's sort of like those Corona commercials.
What happens?
There's these Corona commercials where the guy just can't win.
Right.
That whole just pandering to females. You know, she squeezes the lime because he's looking at a hot chick, and then she looks at a hot guy, so he shakes up her beer. But because she's a woman, she's got to grab the other beer. And it's just, the whole thing is just guys are dumb, which is just completely acceptable to put out there. You can never have, like, the female losing that. That's like that political correctness kind of things. Where it's just
always.
Well, the main reason is, though, because with Corona, we're going to pump enough down her dumb throat and then fuck her while she's half asleep. So we do win in the end.
Dude, that movie,
too many and clock her in the eye.
that movie, The Social Network, like, women's groups were offended the way that they portrayed it, that these nerds who nobody wanted to fuck, when all of a sudden they made $1 billion, all of a sudden all these good-looking chicks came out of nowhere and wanted
that's
to.
That's what happens.
No, you can't say that. They make it seem like gold-digging whores are on the same level of like Bigfoot, you know, like they don't exist, and it's like they do.
Okay, but I think nobody's going to say if you sit in front of a camera with a small gun and forget your words that's going to make you sexy. Although there is an element of self.
No.
There is an element. You know, you meet. What's weird is that you meet guys who've adopted this kind of language as street talk because basically, you know, it's the next cool thing. So they'll hang around on the street and they won't be wearing gold. They'll just be saying, "Bro, listen, man, I'm going to come and get you, and you know, I've got a big beard, and you should watch out because we're going to be bigger than Osama." And they're not. I mean, they're not. They're going to go back home and they're going to just, you know, their mum's going to give them supper and they're going to go to bed. You know?
Is there an equivalent here in the United States? Like, I don't mean as far as terrorism goes, but like a gang member or something. Is that what you would equate some of these fanatics with? Like,
I don't know. I mean, people say. These guys, they like 20 years ago, they'd have been punks or something, you know. And it's not quite like that. There's a different thing going on, but there is something that maybe happened here that's a bit similar with the KKK, and you know, the fact they got infiltrated by Stetson Kennedy, and then he revealed, he decided he was trying to campaign against them. He revealed all of their passwords and crazy names, you know, the Grand Dragon and all of that stuff, to the Superman radio show. And the Superman radio show wrote it up in the 50s, and it came out on air, and then all the kids started running around going, yeah, Grand Dragon, and all the rest, and the KKK couldn't hack it. They said, what the hell are our kids saying this for? And it just cut the recruitment overnight. So, you know, you can feel that maybe things kind of shift in that way if you put a comedy on them.
It was really weird, too. Like, there was one line in the movie which showed you a great insight into these guys. They were talking, like, about blowing themselves up, and the one guy either said to him or he said it about himself. He goes, I'll be in heaven before my head hits the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know that's something that they say. That's a way they look at it. Like, before your head hits the ceiling, you're in paradise. Like, you know that line has really been used.
Right, do you? Okay, that's good, because, I mean...
Did you guys make that up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, that's, to me, too exact a conversation.
That's like the car salesman.
But
what do we have to do here today?
To get you.
What?
It does depend, right? Because, you know, these stories about when people were guillotined in France, and people sort of thought, I wonder if the head can last longer, you know, well, like, once it's cut off, does it know what's happened? And there were even people who did experiments, you know, doctors who said to people who are about to be executed, look, can you do me a favor? I'm going to ask you a question after your head's come off. Wow. Now, you've got no air coming through your larynx to make a voice noise, but maybe if you could just wink with your right eye for yes and your left eye for no, you know, can I interview your head after I've cut it off? And then, of course, well, come on, you know, you chop a head off, I think it's going to do some weird things, right?
It probably
it'll probably do that.
Yeah.
And he goes, it does, it knew me, I understood, you know.
It's a little twitchy.
A bomber, maybe, I mean, because the head is the bit that lasts longest. And they even thought early on, you know, maybe they would have a sort of slow motion scene going up with a head. I mean, this is when the film, before we'd kind of like really sort of just spitballing, and you stick with a head, and we're thinking, what would be the last thought to go through somebody's head? And we kind of like wanted something really random, like it was going, oh, I didn't expect to feel hungry. But, you know, how long do you last after the moment? I don't know. How can we test it?
No clue.
Yeah, no one knows.
Can we test it now? It's not regulated, right?
Well,
so there's
Stevie's not here today, so I guess
I'd like to
FCC.
yeah.
This is the
Get a
shock to your
volunteer.
system.
Get a volunteer.
Right.
Can you do that?
No, we got a few
In the
people
safety of satellite
might
radio,
as well
right?
not have
A
a head.
beheading for science.
Where's E-Rock?
Hey, death threats. You worried about death threats or anything?
Are you going to make one?
Nah, fuck.
Listen, I got a death. I got a death threat for working
you
on
must
radio a
have
long
huge-
time ago. Kuyanis? No, what? I thought you were going to compliment my lunch.
I was going to say
my
you
pack.
must have huge balls because doing a movie like Four Lions, I'm thinking you might get a death threat or two.
Well, look, I mean, a lot of the Muslim guys that I met during the research and their families were just saying, "Oh, it's going to be a comedy. Bring it on." So unless they were trying to trick me to go out on a limb,
Did you actually talk to jihadists?
well, not guys who are currently planning anything.
No, but I mean,
can't
like,
reveal.
people who at least were involved with it and are out of it now?
Well, you talk to people and they get in a weird situation. So, like, when I talked to people who went to fight in Bosnia in the 90s, but that was a time when Margaret Thatcher, recently out of power, said, I think British Muslims should go and fight against the Serbs, go and help so you get people, they can say, they can tell you stories from that kind of training camp because it's not incriminating, but nobody says, yeah, I've just come back from training camp, and you know
Right.
what? They're gone. So the latest things, you rely on kind of court cases and stuff. But I spoke to a guy who fought alongside bin Laden against the Russians in the 90s, and then he had a major disagreement with him and said, you've gone mad, and I don't want to be part of this
Now,
anymore.
did he have the actual disagreement, or did bin Laden just say something that he secretly disagreed with and he got the fuck out of Dodge?
You know what? It's funny. He actually went, he traveled deliberately to a conference in order to stand up and declare that they'd gone overboard. There's this kind of weird thing. It's kind of, sometimes people like, Peter Bergen, CNN, people who've interviewed bin Laden, they say he's a very polite man. So it's kind of like against the rules, even if you're, planning mass destruction. If somebody stands up and disagrees with you, there was another guy, there was an Algerian terrorist that bin Laden invited to go and visit him in Afghanistan. And he said, the Algerian terrorist made a dangerous journey. He was a marked man. He said, what do you want? Bin Laden said, I want you to work for me, brother. And this guy said, I don't want to work for you. I'm my own man. I've got my own list of atrocities. I don't need to be part of your team. And I tell you what, if I ever hear from you again, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to cut your fucking head off. And I thought, how often do you imagine bin Laden sitting on his rock looking like a slapped child? It's kind of, the dynamics are not quite the same. So this guy stood up and said, you've gone mad, this isn't working. You can't just go around blowing up people for no reason. And he left. 2000 was the year he left.
You think of him as like a Bond villain where he goes, okay, well, take care. And then the floor opens up and there's sharks in there and
I know.
something happens.
I was thinking
to him.
Scarface and that guy's hanging from the helicopter.
Omar.
yeah.
No, he's a softie. I mean, he was interviewed. He was interviewed by a journalist. So you have to go through elaborate routines like boots of car and that kind of thing. Just the trunk hide in the trunk of a car, go somewhere you don't know. But this journalist found himself in bin Laden's cave, and he writes about the Middle East. And bin Laden said, I like what you write. Would you like to work for us? And this journalist suddenly thought, okay, I'm alone here. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. What do I say? Jesus. And he said, well, the thing is, Sheikh, I'm not a Muslim. Which is a pretty good answer because, you can't argue with that. The result was that bin Laden went, okay, and went and lay down on the couch in the corner of his cave, got out a newspaper, and basically going, what are you doing here? I'm not talking to you. I'm reading the paper. I'm not talking to you anymore. And he basically sulked for an hour. And it's not the kind of behavior you expect from Mr.
Did he
Webby
eventually
Finger.
talk to him?
Wow.
Again? Yeah, he probably said, I'm going to do 3 more questions, and then I've got to go.
Wow.
Well, but he didn't. It's weird, but you would
Oh,
expect.
did he eventually work for him?
No. But bin Laden did speak to him like at the end of the interview. He didn't.
He didn't just stay on the couch and go to
Well,
sleep.
he didn't just throw him out.
He
He
really
didn't
is
throw him
just a
out.
spoiled rich kid.
Yeah.
There is a bit of that. I think there is a bit of that,
Spoiled rich.
Yeah, he got everything he wanted growing up.
Lawrence Wright's book, The Looming Tower, describes bin Laden's life, and it is quite like that. I don't think he had it hard.
Is he though? Was he like the real radical, or is it Al-Zawahiri? I think.
Yeah, no, he's
the Egyptian.
He's got all the words coming out of his mouth, hasn't he? al-Zawahiri.
Yeah. He's the one. The Egyptian, I think, is the real fucking radical. Like Bin Laden, I guess, is the figurehead, and I'm sure approves of this stuff.
And the money.
Yeah, but I think the guy below him is the real
He's the one
problem.
who publishes all the documents, right? I mean, he's the one who comes up and does the newsletters. Bin Laden, I mean, do we know? I mean, do we even know when it's like a little note? He's gone a bit weird. You know, he does book pluggings and things. He does, his rhetoric's come unraveled. The other guy's still right online, but I'm not sure. Somebody could be making that stuff up for Bin Laden. You know, remember he plugged a book a few years ago, that book Rogue State. You know, he sort of said, and I want you Americans, I think it was just before the election, and he was saying, I want you Americans to read a book.
More effective than Oprah?
Do you know what he was telling? I think he went up to
Bin Laden Book Club.
Hopefully Happy Ending is on there, Jimmy.
Happy endings.
Right.
Win a date with Osama. He's like a hunk now. Everybody wants to fuck him.
Hey, you think Bin Laden's alive still? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm the expert, right?
Well, you know a little more than us.
Yeah, you've spoken to more guys than we have.
Yeah, but no one. I mean, you suspect maybe he is from the fact that there's still a search for him. But you know, I think the weird thing is that he's kind of over. You know, he's still a figurehead, but he's still a sort of Che Guevara type figure. But he's, you know, there's new things happening. It's kind of quite dispersed.
It's like music. Every 5 years you need.
I mean, he had a difficult second album, didn't he? Yeah. And I'm not sure it's really, you know, it's not even in utero what he's done.
And where do you think he is? Where do you think he's at if he's alive?
What is that?
Where do you think he's at?
Where? This is great. Yeah. This is going to be...
Well,
because if I say...
You live in that world a little more in that world than we do.
You made a movie about it. You got to know something.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
Look, come on. You don't turn up at someone's house and say, you know, like a nice Pakistani family in Britain, and they say, come in, have some curry, and by the way, do you know where Bin Laden is?
Yeah.
We can tell you.
Where he is.
No. I mean...
What's the word on the street?
Listen, we could sit around here, we could name 5 cities, and you know they'd be toast by lunchtime. They'd be hit by drones. I don't know. I mean, they say he's hiding out in the mountains between Pakistan, but that's what we all think, right? I mean, what do you think? You think he's out somewhere else? You think he's kind of like on a beach?
He's in some. I guarantee it's just some village or in Pakistan where they.
But
can't...
he's got to hide out because he's a pretty recognizable guy.
Yeah.
Do you know how we heard?
What disguise would you choose?
It's a big place.
You
can't find him. You can find Saddam in the bottom of a manhole, middle of a desert, but they just can't seem to get this guy.
Yeah, Bill's all about. I like Bill's thoughts on this stuff.
You think he's got theories?
No,
they can't. The religious. I'm telling you, the religious fanaticism. Even though they've got al-Zarqawi this way with the $25 million ransom, the religious fanaticism around guys who are that close to him, the money doesn't mean anything to them. It's like that's why they haven't caught the top 2 guys.
I can look at my apartment from space. On the internet, they can't find it. Get the fuck out! It's ridiculous.
Are you
just one guy?
I love Billy.
No, he's serious.
No, they could have sent in the Navy SEALs and the Raiders. Those guys are punks.
I was a Navy SEAL.
They have shit training. You could have sent in the Navy SEAls, the Rangers. They could have slit the guy's throat. They could have done it in 90 days.
Why are we leaving them alone?
There's no
then?
money in that. You got to send everybody over there. Send everything over there. $1 billion a day, and just make $1 zillion. We can't get the ref didn't see it. It's like wrestling.
But if they get him, doesn't it justify?
I don't know shit. I don't read books. It's just it's what my gut's telling me.
To send a shitload of equipment and manpower over there, and then you get some corporations for security. A lot of people make some money.
Yeah, but
do you
the
think
PR
it's
behind
it's like a mini-series or something? Do you think that's why you feel cheated that they've kind of like withheld the obvious
it's like
ending?
Sam and Diane. Eventually,
I can see what's happening. There's no one. So where is he? Does he live here or does he not exist?
He's in Rhode Island. He's down there at the yacht club.
Or is he in Langley?
Yeah, look,
is he in Langley?
He's a rich kid. There's no way he's going to slum it that long in a cave. He shaves the beard. It's a glue-on. He just puts it on. They make it look grainy. They have a cave set that they put behind him. And they shoot it. And then he hangs out in Newport.
Now, should we talk about moon landings?
Never happened.
Yeah, okay.
He's in a village somewhere. That's all. These fucking tribal fucking regions that are hard for us to get to. And I really believe that they just haven't gotten him. I think the PR behind getting him would be so much bigger than anything that they can gain by not getting him. It would make everything that the U.S. did, at least at one point, look justified. There's too many people that would look good if they
Maybe we're just waiting. Give it a couple more years, then we'll get him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Talking to Chris Morris, because everyone's yelling, what's the movie, assholes?
It's called The Four Lions. We've
been
said
saying
that. It's released in New York and L.A. Is there a website people can go to check out where it is?
Yeah, it's at Draft House Films.
Congratulations
or
on
Lines.
Congratulations on the reviews, man.
Yeah, 86%.
Positive
how did we
reviews
do
all
that?
over the place.
Yeah, I
It's a
think
smart
people are
movie,
scared.
man. It's really, and it's funny. It's not smarmy smart and annoying smart. It's a funny fucking comedy. It's really well written.
Go ahead, Bill.
What is that like the morning of when you have a movie coming out and you're like, oh God, here come the critics? Like, do you just say like, don't call me if it's bad? Or do you literally search it yourself? What is the process?
I think you kind of get warmed up because, it's a slow release and you can see how they work. But I think in this case, you're in a way it's quite easy and quite safe because, the easiest way for a critic to make a fool of themselves is to sort of declare expertise in this area. And in order really to comment on the film in some ways, it's kind of critic-proof, right? Because people don't know that much about the subject. I mean, I'm kind of exaggerating, but it's.
Right.
Do you know? The other thing is, by the time you've made the film, you sort of, I don't know, you've brainwashed yourself into your own world. So any critic is kind of quite a long way out there. They'd have to come up to you. I mean, they find ways of getting into your head. I've gone mad. I mean, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. They've got to me. I can't. I'm in ribbons. I'm in bits. I don't know. Oh, look here. This is a list of cities.
Yeah,
We're
go.
bothered with that. So we've got
Sure,
New York,
sure.
LA. We've got Seattle, Boston, DC, Austin, San Francisco. That's the first 7,
All the hip
and then we're
cities.
expanding to over 1,000.
Yeah.
That's
No, we're not.
it should be out.
If people
should.
go and see it, maybe we'll expand to 12.
Oh, I'm glad it's in other cities. I thought just New York and LA. That's what I heard.
Does that make you
yesterday.
feel better or worse?
much better for you. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
yeah, it's
because
good.
honestly, I know you're being sarcastic, but we fucking are frustrated by comedies, and this is a smart comedy.
Yeah, most of them is just
we
stink.
hate fucking comedies at this point.
What was the last one you liked? What was the last one you saw?
Observe and Report.
Observe and Report was a great movie
With Ray Liotta and Seth Rogen. It was he was a mall security guard, but the dialogue was fucking
It's
brutal.
Mall Cop if you did it right.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
the Mall Cop got all the money, but this Observe and Report was so much better and so much funnier.
Did you have any resistance from any studios in the U.S.? Did any criticism from the business itself?
You mean if we're trying to raise money?
Like,
or
no, like to put it out, go, well, the subject's a little. Did anybody, these fucking jizzbags, they had to have come after you with that shit.
I think you can guess, right? And if you did the face you did there and the voice, I mean, that kind of sums it up. But we didn't have direct criticism, not direct intervention, because I think studios in the US didn't really care that much. But people did say that. The thing is that you get brave people. Often what you have is like in the same committee, brave people are just like, okay, yeah, we love this, and then other people just run and hide, and that's kind of the most frustrating thing because
Are people really going to go on and want to, I
don't know who to root for in this.
Yeah, who's the winner?
Who am I rooting for?
Rooting.
Yeah, what's going to make me like these characters? It's like, you fucking twat.
I just can't see this being interesting for 90 minutes.
Oh, shut up.
How many times you just looked at that pen and pencil set on the
Are you guys?
both fucking jugulars?
Do I sense the damage here? That
Yeah,
you
we've all
basically
had
pitched and you've
Well,
had a
it's
lot
like
of rejection.
I wrote a
We've all had
comedy,
meetings.
and
Oh,
it's
dear.
like
It
they're
just
always,
comes off as like misogynistic.
dude.
What was your
what if the
misogynistic?
guy is like retarded? I had a scene in a pilot that I wrote where it was a guy. He has a Super Bowl party, and all these chicks come over and they talk during the game. No, and then they shut up during the commercials, which is basically what happens. And then in the end, the real sports
Bill.
fans who've been there the whole time end up watching it on a small TV in the kitchen. That's all it was.
Bill.
And it
what-
came
that-
off.
What was the problem?
It was,
That was very-
it made women look bad. It was misogynistic.
What network? What network?
What was that one?
Was it one of the majors?
What
or-
was that one?
What was that one? I can't even remember. That was.
It wasn't Comedy Central.
It
you
might have
wa-
been Fox. It's just
Oh,
anything.
God.
Anything, and I got to admit, all this bitching that they do in the business, I find 80% of the time I'm pitching to a woman.
Always.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I got to get it
Past
beyond
her.
their sensibilities,
luck.
and it's like everything that you just I don't know, like
They're
anything that
nonsense.
remotely.
You got to get clever, right? You got to just, keep the same script, but just swap the men and the women about.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Okay,
Oh,
and
there you
then
go.
and then once you got the right to make it, switch it back.
See, the
Switch it
women
back.
are the ones.
great
and then you
that-
just
Come on.
and then you play dumb. See,
Come
well, that's why
on.
you're making movies, and I'm
Yeah, it's easy to
thinking
play
about
dumb.
stabbing people.
My film. It's so they're always worried about like how do you root for the guy, and it's like, and I think that in the Punchline Rapist, I think it'd be easy to root. He leaves a different Henny Youngman joke on every woman he brutally sodomizes.
Couldn't get that through, huh?
I just couldn't get it through.
It's too bad.
Yeah, there was a Henny Youngman issue, I think.
Couldn't get the rights to his jokes.
What Bill just said is it's like it makes me physically ill.
Yeah, man,
because you know that's
ridiculous.
what he's dealing with. It's
People want to come home and they want to forget their troubles.
And watch a film about suicide bombers. That's what they want to do. Look, I mean, you can kind of... Who were you rooting for in the film?
I liked all of them. I liked the guy who was, let's say, the smarter of all of them. But it was a matter of, I was rooting for all of them in a weird way. Not to do it or not do it, but just for the movie to have some kind of a funny conclusion. It was really weird. I didn't find myself rooting for the guy like, it's going to happen. But I guess the Omar was the most likable. And in a way, I was hoping that he would go in a certain direction. And I will say this, he did not go in the direction I wanted him to go in. He did not go in the direction I wanted him to go in, but in a way he did. Like his humanity, I liked his humanity. I know I'm double talking so I don't blow the ending, but it's not what you think it's going to be. But it wasn't what I wanted.
You sound
either.
like the head of a corporation that did something wrong. You're just talking in vague generalities.
I kind of got what I wanted.
He's being kind, right? He's being decent.
I don't want to fuck with your movie. I got what I wanted. I got what I wanted, but I didn't get what I wanted in a certain way, and that was fine.
We're currently exploring options to...
No, we'll discuss this movie in length, in a few weeks when people get a chance to see it.
Well, I gotta
there's
say,
a
just
lot in
listening
it.
to you guys talking about this, I'm
great,
definitely going to see it.
Yeah,
This sounds hilarious.
I think you'd love it, Bill. It's a great movie.
I was a sap for the married guy with the kid. When you brought the kid into the equation, I'm like, oh, fuck, I hope this guy wakes up.
But it sort of comes in the wrong way, right? I mean, it's kind of like, it's an upside down.
You got me with that one.
What sort of message is this sending to the youth?
He's on his laptop
message.
planning shit, and the kid comes in the room. It's like, he's shutting the laptop, and his wife.
He's watching a suicide bomber video with his fucking headphones in.
just to see if it's good enough. And
what kind of message to send? Don't ever run while holding explosives. I would have to say that was.
Do you know? I mean, the fun. There's a scene. I don't think it's giving too much away. Where
you give away whatever you want. It's your movie.
I know, yeah, but I'm foolish to myself.
Oh, okay.
There's a scene where a sheep gets blown up. The most common thing is, did a sheep really get blown up? Because, as if you're allowed to blow up a sheep unless you eat it, which we did, which is fine. So we did blow up a sheep and ate it. I mean, there's exploding animals. I think we should say.
Yes.
Like my co-writers Sam and Jesse, they call it the film about the fucking crow.
I forgot about the bird.
Yeah.
There's one funny scene where they're all driving somewhere and they're moving explosives from a hideout to somewhere else because they think that they've been and the fucking car breaks down. And they keep yelling at the whole film to fix this piece of shit car. And they have to walk down the street holding bags of explosives. It was just a great fucking
It's
scene.
almost like the Three Stooges. It
yeah,
really is.
except there was 5 of them and they wanted to murder Zionists.
I know, I understand that. But there's a Three Stooges thing happening in this movie.
But the thing that was scary about them was that you humanized them in a way which showed that they were radical. It showed their doubts about being radical. It showed how stupid what they were going to do. It showed how committed they are to what they do. And it's like you could interact with any one of those people. They were very fucking real people, which makes them more frightening.
Well, look, in real life, these, they don't go around with kind of suits on dressed as Ming the Merciless. It's sort of, and it's weird to imagine that actually they can be people like the head of the guys that bombed London was a sort of teaching assistant. People really liked him. He used to give lifts to kids who couldn't get to school on time. And so when he went and did something like that, people's heads, people who worked with him just went, what?
Yeah,
I remember that one.
The 9/11 attackers were all regular middle-class guys, or most of them were. It's like
some of them were quite odd.
yeah,
I mean, like the leader of the cell when they lived in Hamburg, Mohammed Atta, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought this was possible. You'd say all those guys are so extreme. They're basically
big
going to
Scrabble
be the same.
fan.
Yeah, no, he used to eat nothing but mashed potato. He used to eat nothing but mashed potato and then sit there shoveling it into his mouth saying, food is boring.
They are tasty.
Are you kidding?
No,
What
I'm not.
shits he must have taken?
No craving.
So he's one of those guys, he wanted to feel something.
Yeah. He just
That's what got his heart rate going. He had to do
a
something
steering
like that.
wheel and a fucking building.
But do you believe this, true or false, right? When he used to use the bathroom, the others used to tease him because he urinated so loudly. And he would come back and they'd all be laughing and making him feel awkward. And he said, it's not me, it's nothing to do with me, it's the doors, the bathroom doors, they're Jewish. He actually said they used to call him. He was so strict that lot used to call him the Ayatollah. You wouldn't have thought that was possible.
Wow, yeah, it's.
I mean, I'm crazy, but this guy, this guy's out of his mind.
This guy's really
Look,
crazy.
I'll kill every man, woman, and child, but Jesus Christ, put some salt on the potatoes.
You lunatic.
There's a scene in the movie too where they break down and he accuses one of the car parts of being Jewish.
Exactly.
The spark plugs are Jewish.
Yeah.
That's probably where that came from.
That's exactly where that came from. Yeah.
Yeah, the writing is just amazing.
Great.
A lot of fans on the phones here.
It's not about me, though. Oh.
Jonathan in Maryland. We're talking to Chris Morris, the director of Four Lions.
Oh, hi, Chris.
Hi, Jonathan.
How are you doing? I'm a big fan of your work. Jam, Brass Eye, Nathan Barley, and even your appearances on the IT Crowd.
Wow. Steady now. You've listed the whole lot.
You did one of my favorite comedy sketches ever in Jam, where the guy commits suicide by jumping off the second floor 42 times.
Yeah. I thought that was beautiful.
42 times.
Well, it was like the first floor balcony 40, just in case he changed his mind. But it was great to film that because, you have to put a stuntman through that 42 times.
Yeah.
It was basic. And each time he sort of gets up and looks a bit more groggy. And then
He's a little more fucked up.
but, it's a way to do it, right?
Yes.
That's great that you kill people in comedies, though. That's not enough of that. It's fucking funny.
It's great.
You got a question, Jonathan, or no?
Yeah, I do. Are you ever going to work with Charlie Brooker again?
I hope to, yeah. Charlie Brooker's a writer in Britain. This guy I wrote Nathan Barley with. He'll probably come over here and be huge in 5 years. It's very funny. And I hope to, yeah. We just kind of, we keep having meetings, but we just don't get it together. Maybe our brains are just turning slowly to grit and rubbish. But we hope to get one thing out. Maybe it'll be a 7-second podcast before we both shuffle off.
Oh.
I don't want to end on a downer. Yes is the hope answer. Yeah, come on.
All right.
Let's be hopeful about this. Happy ending.
Happy ending, yes. I've been waiting for a second series of Nathan Barley. I always wanted to find out what would happen.
For us that don't, I don't
What
know.
is Nathan Barley
Yeah,
about?
we don't know what it's
It's about hipsters basically. It's a sort of like a satire on the sort of people, a bit like Vice magazine, people who sort of try too hard to be
hipsters
cool.
yeah.
People who try too hard to be cool. Right. Then there's you get those in every generation.
Hipsters are
and you
great
can, like, chip 'em
fodder.
up. I mean,
to goof on these days.
and
Hate the
it's sort
hipster.
of. I mean, go on. You describe it.
Oh, yeah, it's more or less, it's about the new age of internet, how everyone's using YouTube. It's a mockery of it.
I don't go for
guess.
that.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah, please.
There's no one to root for.
Who do you root for? They're just having fun.
What is the message?
So,
The message is everyone's an idiot.
so was it a series or a film?
It was a 6-part series.
Oh, 6-part series. Oh, see, the fucking British know 6 and you're done. That's The Office, 2 seasons, 6 each
You're
season.
looking at big fans of the British Office there, Chris.
Yeah.
Huge fans.
I mean,
Gervais
really.
is hysterical,
The American
yeah.
version's better though.
I'm kidding. It was all right at first.
But you
Terrible.
guys,
Yeah, we
sometimes
don't
out
know
here-
when to get off. We don't.
Things just some great things go on. Sometimes great things go on for ages, and I really don't understand where that comes from. It's something like South Park, on and on and on.
Right.
How does that happen? Is it kind of different? Sense here?
Cartoon.
Like you got to work hard here. Maybe we're just lazy.
No, I think because they're dealing with topical material.
Yeah, they
And
didn't.
they're-
They haven't
they're-
jumped the shark.
Yeah.
man.
At all.
And there's
They
no
have not-
aging.
Right.
And as in real life, nobody gets old, nobody dies, so you can have the same characters.
Yeah, you
you
don't
can
got to bring in that awful kid
You can bring
character.
in dead people. You can do whatever you want in a cartoon.
Except for your empire, you went a little long with that.
Yeah, sure. But I mean,
that was
Yeah, the EastEnders might have seen better days. Fucking season 40. I've never even seen it. I just know it's a
yeah, but
show.
the whole point of that, is it just kind of stumbles on, and people still watch it.
How many years has that been on?
Oh, at least 20. Wow, really?
It's like Days of Our Lives, I guess, or one of those soaps.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm McDonald Carey. Are you?
McDonald Carey for Days of Our Lives, and it's like
Decades of our lives.
The person that was like the young hot broad is now the matriarch of the family. She's been coming into work every fucking day, filming those god awful soap
Except when
operas.
she's getting her face yanked back.
And then they write her out. She's
Yeah.
on vacation.
Yeah. I fucking, you want, off the subject, but I went to Chiller Theater last week to meet some of these, like, I love these old actors and these obscure celebrities, and it was getting photo with the Dallas cast,
Yeah.
and I Dream of Jeannie, and just Charlene Tilton and some of the older, Larry Hagman looks the same, but the rest of them, it's like, oh, God.
He's got that new
bless you.
liver.
Does he really look the same?
Yeah, but he's sitting
yeah,
there.
that
But I
is.
mean, he still looks good for Larry. I mean, he was making. Why are you signing shit? He was making $250,000 in like '79 an episode.
Yeah, why does he have to sit there?
What did he do with his money?
Because he had a mortgage.
Got a liver,
They shook
too.
it up. They shook it up. I'm telling you.
You think he had health insurance?
Yes, SAG and after.
Drank like crazy.
Oh, is he a drinker?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He had to
He's
get
a
a new
big-time
liver.
drinker.
All right.
He was ready to die. He was like a day away from death, and then, of course, they got the celebrity liver on the platter. Well, we found one for you, Mr. Hagman.
And sure, they canceled his health insurance right before they found some sort of pre-existing condition.
Why not?
Patrick Duffy was there.
Was he there?
Yeah,
How
he
did
looks.
look?
Fucking.
What
power-
about Charlene Tilton?
Yeah.
Is she tilting the scales these days? Get it?
No, but you know what? I think I have my picture on here. I'll show you.
Actually,
my
did a benefit the day before Halloween, and there was a woman who was the same age as that's the lady who played I Dream of Jeannie.
Yes,
Barbara
that
Eden.
was Barbara
Okay,
Eden.
Barbara
she
Eden.
was wearing that outfit, and she was like in her early 60s, and she had the midriff out and everything.
no,
It was
Why?
back out. It was just. Oh,
you
it
don't
was
wanna
like.
see
Did you not feel a respect, at some level, a respect for that?
Yeah, I did because you know what it looked like? It looked like after someone lands with a parachute. Not when the air's completely out of it, when it's just sort of half full. That's what her back looked like. It was, and I know
That's the most beautiful description of that condition I think I've ever
it was
heard.
very delicate. It was very
Collapsing
delicate.
canopy. Yeah.
But it was like, yeah. I mean, I usually don't pick on someone like that. What's she supposed to do? But she doesn't care.
Can I see too,
She
Jimmy?
doesn't look that bad. She looks older,
me see.
but they show
Let's
the
turn
picture
that
of her
around.
behind.
That's a little rough.
She could look worse.
Maybe get the
She
other
could look
picture off the
worse.
wall.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have the pictures up there so people know who they are.
I
a
got
lot
a picture
of
of
times.
where's Larry Hagman? He still looks pretty much.
Look at Jimmy's pictures.
Yeah, really.
I know. I'm
Look at
sorry. We got to
Jimmy's
throw.
Big time director, hot movie, and we're looking at your celebrity photos.
Sorry about that. We're just talking about old people.
Jimmy loves his celebrity photos.
No, but
by the
come
way.
on, Larry Hagman. It's like, come on.
Larry looks great.
I told you
see
he
Larry.
does.
Let me see Larry.
No, everyone talk
Let me
shit.
see-
Let's see Larry.
Show me now, because I talk shit.
You know, Bill and Chris see Larry. Everybody else goes to fuck themselves, and they wonder what Larry looks like. We talk movies again.
Do you go to cinema, when you go to see films? Do you say I'm just going to go to a theater where they let you take out your laptop and look at your pictures?
I actually bother people during the climax of the movie. Look, I met the guy who worked with this actor once. You get it? Shut up.
There's an obsession there, Chris. He
shit, it's
loves his
fantastic.
celebrity photos.
I think it would be dangerous if you put a lid on that. I think you've got to let it.
I really
let
do.
it breathe.
Oh,
let it
it's
out.
fun.
Let it breathe.
Let it out.
Otherwise,
Yeah, I know.
one of those people
Stalker.
on that laptop is dead.
Yeah,
if you're not
yeah,
allowed to show the
exactly,
pictures
yep.
to people.
Certain people are
we
laughed
know-
at for their obsession. Mark David Chapman. Come on, let it go. It's unhealthy. So how is it? Was this film released in Britain already? Can we talk about this on a show on Fox about 6 months ago? They showed the scene where they're buying.
Other bleach.
Yeah, and he's like, how do you just? He's like, you go into the same place to buy all the bleach, and he goes, yeah, but I change my voice every time, and he has a beard. They're like, but you're the same guy. He's like, and they did 3 voices, and he did one. He goes, well, what's this voice? And he goes, well, it's an IRA guy. He goes, that's a terrorist. Why would you make a terrorist voice? Oh. Fucking
Shit,
great.
that is great.
And then how he covered up his beard.
Oh, because he says he's a woman. And they're
Yeah.
like, but you've got a beard. He goes, I cover it. And he's got his hands over his phone.
Yeah, just
Dude, I laughed
ridiculous.
out loud at that movie.
Well, you know what's it's
that's
scary, kind of, when we played in Britain, we got requests, and it's actually happened here as well, that sort of police departments or people who work in anti-terror say, oh, can we play this to our kind of like recruits as almost like a training video? And you think, no, it can't be that. What? You really going to be, is it because you take real life and you kind of exaggerate it a bit for a film, but then they're playing it back into the system as if like, no, this is the kind of guy you got to
this is what you're
going to
be dealing with.
Yeah.
Who you should
I don't know.
profile.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's very strange.
All good
Not
actors, too,
surprised,
by the way. All
Oh,
great.
maybe they just want to. Yeah, they're great. They're
All
great,
those guys were
actors, yeah.
fucking
Oh,
terrific. Are any of those guys? Because there's some guys that are huge in Britain that we don't know.
Yeah, are they
here.
famous?
Any of those guys really big over there?
They're on the way up. I mean,
Okay.
one guy, Kayvan, who plays Wadge, does a sort of phone jacker thing. You know, he phones people up. He's great on voices, so you know he does that, and then he's doing it in real life too.
Which
with
guy
kind
is
of
he?
masks. He plays Wadge, the not so bright one.
Oh, he's got
The
the
least
weird
bright
little
one.
who.
No, Wadge
alert.
is like, you know, he's Omar's brother. He's Omar's buddy.
Is he the
you know, it's
confused
like,
guy?
yeah, it's in my heart and in my brain, the confused guy. My confused face, yeah. Takes a picture of his face to see if he's confused, yeah.
Oh, God, that was
but he does a
hilarious,
great
too.
show, phone jack.
Am I confused?
I forgot about that. That was.
Yeah.
I gotta pop this in right when I get home.
Dude, I should have called you yesterday and told you. It's because a lot of times we don't want to watch the film because a lot of times we just
Quite
shit.
understand.
Lazy.
But it was so great.
So let's talk about the other films that are coming out on Friday in quite a negative way.
Yes, of course.
Megamind. Have you seen Megamind?
Fuck
please.
that stupid animation.
Hey, fuck cartoons.
That's Kazoo
with Brad
from the
Pitt.
Flintstones.
Yeah,
They just reworked it.
exactly.
You don't have to worry about that film.
That wasn't
it.
kind
What
of
else?
a review. It was just a kind of like avalanche of negative noise.
What
It
other-
was pretty
What other movies are coming out Friday?
That
Chris?
works, though. That
Due
works.
Date.
Huh?
Even if you liked
Oh,
it,
due date.
You can wait to see that till next week because that'll be around longer. This is in less theaters, so go see this.
And that's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Exactly.
Seen it already.
It is.
I think it is too.
It looks just like it.
I think they made that movie already.
But every generation wants
Isn't
their...
that Zach through the glass there?
It does look like Zach.
Is he one of your guys?
Yeah,
He does look
that's
like
Devin.
Zach.
He does. He get a lot of times. People come up in New York about 3 or 4 times already.
Oh, my
You
God.
go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
people go, "Oh,
Holy shit.
Yeah, suddenly you get golden service until he says, "No, I'm not him," and then it's gone away.
Why would he do that? Just go with it.
Of course he should, or just tell people he's
Go
kind of a
with it.
fat, like, Unabomber. That's what he looks like, Ted Kaczynski.
Hey, you know,
other
I wanted that was a
Al
question
Zarqawi.
I had. If some woman thinks he's Zach Galifianakis, right? He doesn't reveal that he isn't, and he bangs her. Is he in trouble on any level? Is that some sort of form of
Bill
rape?
Burr lookalike going around?
I'm just asking.
What do you look like, Bill?
Yeah, how's this going to
don't
work
know.
out for you?
I think maybe DNA, alibis, things like that.
Happy
No, 'cause-
Days thing going on
no,
here.
'cause
What's he
it was-
called?
And please
Howard.
say no, Ralph Malph. I've always looked way more like Ralph Malph. They always say Ron Howard.
Yeah, I'd say Ron Howard.
What you
Donnie
should
Most.
do is here's what you do. You fuck the girl, and as you're coming, you say, "I'm not Zach," and you fucking let your seed leak down her leg. Well, you don't tell her, and that she calls Zach thinking she's got a kid with him.
Yeah.
She realizes it's just some guy.
I said Mac. Mac Galifianakis.
Well, actually, that's an interesting case. If legally, if she never knows that he isn't Zach,
He doesn't have to.
He has no obligation to that
Yeah, he doesn't
dumbbell.
No.
He should get his ball. He should say, "Look, Zach loves his ass eating, and she has to eat his ass." He should really humiliate her. That's what I would do. As if the act of fucking me wouldn't be bad enough.
That's so misogynistic.
Yeah.
Who do I root for in that? I just don't know who to root for.
The guy with the fucking ski mask and the knife and the erection. As a rule of thumb, that's the guy who should win.
Well, let's thank Chris Morris for
Yes.
stopping by.
Yeah, I guess we're done for the day.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
thank
movie's
you.
called Four Lions. Comes out tomorrow. Please go see it.
And also,
if you're a fan of comedy, especially
yeah, it's in New York, Austin, Dallas, San Francisco, Boston, L.A.,
Seattle.
and Seattle.
well
you
done.
nailed
Was
them.
that memory?
Well, yeah, well, I was looking at my
really
fingers. It
good
had to be. And I will be in Poughkeepsie the 19th and 20th at Bananas. And my Raw Dog interview with Gary is today at 4 o'clock.
Baba Booey. Baba
Yeah,
Booey.
it was a good interview. So if you're around, listen to it. If not, don't. And Bill Burr's DVD is available.
Right.
Wow, what a sweetheart.
Yeah, but
No,
you got
come
to
on,
tell
Bill.
them
Let's see.
21 minutes of material.
Yeah, 21 minutes of material
important.
that was not on Comedy Central will be on it. It'll actually flow. There'll be no commercials.
Nice.
And
So I like watching
yes,
stuff.
Exactly.
Chris Morris,
so
thank
please
you
check
so
it
much.
out on
Good
iTunes.
luck, man.
Thank
Yes,
you. Thank
See
you.
you soon. All right.